I'm filming today a remake of one of my first videos, and it is a magnet show and tell. So I'm a fridge magnet collector. I know different people collect different things when they go on holidays and trips. I've always wanted to be a magnet person. And naturally these are not pre-loved magnets. I know it kind of goes against my ethos, but I do make an exception for magnets because I just think they're fun and colourful and I like to have them. So I did film this video ages ago, like when I first started my channel. I did film this video absolutely ages ago, but my old videos, for whatever reason, I can't remember what I filmed them with, but I know I had to like link my phone up to a laptop for whatever reason, so a lot of my videos were really green and the audio quality wasn't as good. I mean, it's not great now, but it's better than it was. And I also have a few more magnets to show, so here we go. I'm just going to go through them. I have a whiteboard here. You can see my window and my setup in the reflection. And with this whiteboard, I'm just going to stick the magnets on one by one as I talk about them. I just want to point out I have like a bruise here, and I promise I haven't been fighting and no one's punched me or whatever. I basically dropped my phone on my face. It was like plugged into the wall, and I tried to turn over in bed, and then the wire tugged the phone and it dropped to my face. So please don't worry about me if you clocked that. Alright, I'm gonna start with magnets from the UK, I think. I have quite a few of those. So I'll just start with the first one that I've seen, and that's this Blackpool magnet, and it's an ice lolly. Blackpool. If you're not from the UK or you're not familiar with Blackpool, I believe this is the home of ballroom dancing, and even to this day it's very well known for ballroom dancing. And it also has a pleasure beach. It has a big theme park as well. It's in the northwest of England, so it's not too far from Manchester, and I went with my friends. We went to the pleasure beach theme park and we stayed in this really random Airbnb, which just felt like someone's house, but like, I know most Airbnbs do, but this was like, I can't explain it, but it was a good time. There were about 8 of us, I think. And yeah, I really like Blackpool. I have a soft spot for it. It gets a lot of hate. A lot of seaside towns in England actually do get a lot of hate, because they're normally a little bit worn and torn, but I think they're great and they have a lot of character. So Blackpool can go up here. Okay, next up I'll do this little haggis magnet, and you can see the Scottish flag here. Obviously this is from Scotland, but more specifically it's from Glasgow. I love Glasgow. I've only been once because my boyfriend's sister lives there, so we went to visit her, and as soon as I got there I remember saying to Tom that I feel my first impression of Glasgow is what I imagine a lot of people's first impression of Manchester is. But I love Manchester, and it felt almost like a home from home. Very industrial, like a big variety of modern and Victorian architecture. I love Glaswegian accents. I mean, I love Scottish accents in general, to be fair, but Glaswegian accents, they just have so much like heart to them, you know. And yeah, I really like it. I don't think I actually tried haggis. I feel like I have in my life, but I don't think I did in Glasgow, because I'm not a massive meat eater at the best of times. So anything offally I typically avoid, but this is just the sweetest magnet I've ever seen in my life. I'd love to see more of Scotland. I'd love to do some of like the massive nature walks and nature drives. You can do a drive around the Scottish coastline. I think it's like a 7-day camping trip kind of thing, because Scotland is like, it famously has the most beautiful countrysides in all of the UK. Yeah, so there we go. My little haggis can go up here. Let's stick it next to Blackpool. I'm not sure I'm going to get all of my magnets on this board, so we'll just have to do our best. I'm noticing that I don't have this corner either, so apologies for that. Okay, let's do another one. This is a York magnet, and this is where I went to uni, and it's where I met my partner. And he's from York. His family live in York still, so we go there probably once or twice a year now. And I love the typos on this. So you can see here, maybe it says Clifford's. Well, it's definitely not going to focus. But it says Clifford's Tower. It has a T at the end instead of Clifford's Tower. And Walmgate, it actually says Walmergate, which is also wrong. And the printing's just a bit funny on it. It's kind of like hazy. And this is so incredibly tacky. But it has York Minster, Bootham Bar, a red double-decker bus and a Viking. I don't know. I really liked it. If you're, whether you're from the UK or not, I'd recommend York as like a weekend getaway. I really think it's such a lovely, beautiful city. I just got very bored of living there. I felt there wasn't much to do on like a day-to-day basis for people in their like mid-20s. But maybe I was just unlucky, or I wasn't looking at the right type of things. But for uni, I absolutely loved it. And later in life, maybe if I had kids or whatever, I would consider York. It's a very safe, cozy place. So I'll stick that up here as well. There we go, next to the haggis. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Okay, let's stick to the north. I have this magnet of Derwent Water, and I bought this a few weeks ago on my camping trip. I love the Lake District. It's just an area of outstanding natural beauty. Is that what it's called? An area of outstanding natural beauty. You just you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere, but it's only a couple of hours away from Manchester, I think. It's not that far away from, a lot of big cities, but you really feel like you're miles away from the hustle and bustle, And my friends and I did a big walk around Derwent Water, around this lake, and we went to a little town. I want to say it's called Kettlewell, but I could be wrong. There was another place that began with a K, and I forgot the name. But I absolutely loved this. It got me back into camping. I feel like I want to camp every year now. I just really loved being out in nature. It was such a nice break from London, right? It's like the total opposite. Really, really, really stunning. Okay, I'm going to stick this here. I'm really just trying to maximize space. What else do I have from the UK? I have 3 magnets here that are museum related. So this I bought from the Charles Dickens Museum. This is Marley's ghost, and it's Scrooge sat at his chair by the fire, and Marley's ghost appears in chains. I'm sorry, it's not going to focus, but I bought this the first weekend I moved to London. The first thing I did is I went to the Charles Dickens Museum. I want to go again this year at Christmas. And this is near Russell Square Tube Station. It's the house where he wrote Oliver Twist and a few others, maybe the Pickwick Papers as well. I can't quite remember. But I love Charles Dickens. I think he's like my comfort author. I find it so cozy reading Charles Dickens books. I think just Victorian England in general is quite cozy isn't the word because it was quite morbid, I guess, but a very Charles Dickens feels like pure heritage, you know, especially because all of his stories are about giving and wealth disparity, and I don't know, maybe it's my little history buff side of me coming out. And obviously the Victorian period was also a terrible period of colonialism and colonization, but I mean more kind of industrially speaking, these industrial towns with a lot of poverty and whatnot, I guess. I don't know what I'm going on about, but I love Charles Dickens's work anyway. That's the moral of the story, and I loved the Charles Dickens Museum, so let's stick that one here under the lakes. And the other museum one I have is from the Museum of the Home, and it's just a little selection of items. I don't know what period this is. It looks like it could be like some kind of mid-century, 60s, 70s maybe, still life photo. So it's got drawing pins, it's got a yellow ointment, it's got, I don't know what that is, a hairdryer, a photograph, some glasses, a little bottle of perfume, some pyjamas it looks like, and a tie. And I just bought this because I was in the Museum of the Home and I saw they had magnets. It was quite a good museum. I think there are better ones out there, truthfully. See if we can stick it. It's a strong magnet. See if we can put it there. Okay. 5 more magnets from the UK. This one is from Brighton Fish and Chips. We started going for like food magnets, but then we've kind of strayed from that path. But we needed a chippy one, obviously, for a seaside town. That's half of the joy of going to a seaside town, is getting fish and chips. And Brighton, I'd say, is maybe my favourite. It's my second favourite seaside town or city that I've been to. It's very vibrant. You can tell that a lot of the people living there have come from London in terms of the fashion and the politics, and it's a very left-wing, very liberal, very, very cool, friendly city. And yeah, I think I've been like 2 or 3 times, but I really do like it. And Brighton can go here maybe. Okay. I then have my favourite seaside town, which is Whitby. And this is Dracula. Whitby is according to the Dracula book, is where Dracula arrived, and it's my favourite. I've just noticed it's a little bit broken actually. It's my favourite part of the book in Dracula, where the ship arrives in Whitby, and there's just a black dog on there, and the dog runs off the ship, and yeah, I just think that's really eerie. And Whitby it's a very gothic, I think they have like an annual goth festival there where people get all dressed up in black and this like Victorian attire. Whitby's just a super cool town. There are lots of antique shops, lots of charity shops and bookshops and tattoo parlours, and really super gothic, super cool. So I absolutely love Whitby. I think it has so much character. Okay, and Whitby can go. Will it fit there? Okay, Dracula can another seaside town actually, which is Dover. And this is from Dover Castle. We went to Dover probably about a month or two ago. We went in summer, and it was okay. You know, it wasn't the best place I've ever been to. I thought it would be a bit more like Whitby, but there wasn't as much going on, unless again maybe I was in the wrong area. But we did spend most of the day at Dover Castle, and I absolutely loved that, and I'd recommend Dover just for the castle. Even if you don't go into the town, I really think Dover Castle is a must. It was a really interesting building, I guess. I mean, it's lots of buildings, but an interesting historical site because it has history from I don't even remember now. I think Henry II, yeah, and I think it was Henry II that built it actually, and then it goes through to like World War II history, and I think parts of it are even now like regulated government buildings. But it was just a really fascinating site to see how it's developed over the years as like a fortification in Georgian England and World War II, and you know, in the Middle Ages, and yeah, I loved it. I don't even think we got to see all of it when we went because it's really big. So I think it is like you could probably spend about 5 hours there. Maybe that's overkill. But I think if you were to go and visit every single building within the castle and do all the little tours, I think it could probably take about 5 hours. And it's the best castle I've visited, I think, so far. I'm dying to do Hever Castle, and I love Hampton Court Palace, but that's a palace rather than a castle. So to date, the best castle I've been to has been Dover Castle. Okay, where can this go? We can stick it here maybe. Right under Dracula. Okay. 2 more for the UK. I have London Zoo. My partner bought this one actually. He took himself for the day to the zoo. And we went another time together, and we decided it wasn't the best zoo. We felt a little bit bad for the animals. It wasn't as good as Chester Zoo, I felt, in terms of the space that the animals have, and I don't really know how much of it was conservation work as opposed to just sticking animals in cages. But the magnet's very sweet. I don't know how I feel about zoos overall. But at the same time, very lucky to have that exposure and be able to see, you know, lions and giraffes and whatnot in the UK as from like an educational standpoint. But I do feel bad for the animals. Yeah, nothing else to say on that. My favourite zoo animal is a binturong. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They're these, like, I'd say they're a mix of like a koala, a red panda, like a panther. I don't even know. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're marsupials or what. But I love them. They're so sweet. They look like little grumpy old men. I don't even know if they have them at London Zoo. I know they have them at Chester Zoo. Last UK one is the Globe. I got this when I went to see one of the shows. I don't remember what it was, Richard III or Antony and Cleopatra, or I don't know which one it was, but I love the Globe Theatre. I want to go again in autumn. They have the outdoor theatre and then they have the indoor one. The indoor one is called the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse, and it's all candlelit. It's really beautiful. It's all candles. So I know last year I went to see at Halloween, I think it was on Halloween, a Ghost Stories play about ghost stories, which I didn't really like that much. But it was a very festive thing to do. So I might see what's on this autumn as well, because it feels like a very cozy autumnal activity. Okay. So the Globe can go. I'll have to go there. Okay. turn that to look a bit better maybe. Oh yeah, there we go, that's way better. The globe can go there. So now I'll do the magnets I have for countries I haven't been to. So these are gifts from other people. I have this little wooden magnet from Vancouver. My colleague Sacchini went there and she brought back this little magnet, which is really sweet. And she also brought back like a maple flavoured lollipop, maple syrup lollipop, and it was so good. I love maple syrup. And she told me that I'd absolutely love Vancouver. And I think she's the second person to tell me that, so maybe I should go. My granddad's parents were Canadian, so my great grandparents were Canadian on my dad's side. But then I think my granddad's parents moved to Australia, so my granddad was Australian, and then he moved to the UK and had my dad here. So I often think I'd like to go to Canada. So my Canadian great grandparents were from Nova Scotia, and I think I still have a few like distant relatives there. And then my granddad they then moved to somewhere near Melbourne, I think, but apparently it was in the middle of nowhere. I think it was probably like an hour outside of Melbourne. So I often think I'd like to visit those places, but apparently there's like nothing there now. Okay, Vancouver can go here, and then Marley's Ghost, like the font almost matches on those. And this one is a gift from my friend B. She said this reminded her of me. And this is from Seville. I've been told Seville is beautiful, and I would like to go. There are so many places I'd like to go, but this is definitely on the list. But at least I've got the magnet right. Seville can go here, and the other one that I didn't go to is San Francisco. This was also from my friend B, and she really she aced the tacky magnet game. I said get the ugliest magnet you could find, and this was it. So good. It's very like summer of '69 energy, right? So it's got the bridge, and it's got these little subway cards, which always subway. I don't know if it's called a subway, tram, you know. And it always reminds me of That's So Raven, which in my opinion was the best Disney show. Yeah, love it. I've never been to the US. Not sure I ever will go to the US, especially not now. And if you're from the US, I'm sorry that you're having a tough time right now. The world is shit right now. It really is. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're going through any shit with being in the US right now. San Francisco, I'll have to go there. It's a bit of an awkward one. Okay, I have Belgium. This is the only practical magnet we have. It's a bottle opener, and it's a Belgian beer. We got this when we went last year. We went to Brussels, and I really liked it. We just did a day trip from London. We got the 6 or 7 a.m. train there, 9 p.m.ish train back. Really good. We went to this museum of crossbowmen. It was really random, but really good. And we had a lovely meal. Had a really good meal in Belgium, Brussels. We had Belgian waffles, Belgian fries, Belgian beers, so I feel like we ticked all the boxes really. And I did quite like it as a city, but I wouldn't rush back. The best thing about Brussels was this massive flea market they had. And I did another video about all the trinkets I bought in Brussels. But anywhere with a good flea market is high on my list. Okay, let's move San Francisco down here, and where can Belgium go? can go here. Okay. This is Malaga. I didn't go here, my boyfriend did. He absolutely loved it. These apparently were all the rage, these like sticks with fish on them. I don't eat fish, so no comment, but he assured me it was very, very good. He went with his dad and brother for a little boys trip. Yeah, it's a cute little magnet. I don't know anything about Malaga as a place, but I know they did like the culture side instead of like the binge drinking club side of Malaga. Okay. Can I turn that maybe? Okay. This is a little Porto magnet and it's a pastel de nata. Which is, if you're not familiar, it's like a custard tart, an egg custard tart with like a burnt top. The top almost resembles like a Basque cheesecake. And they're so tasty. They're so tasty. And the ones you get in the UK just don't compare to the ones in Porto. Unless you go to like a bakery, and there's a bakery near me which does incredible pastel de natas. But I'm sure there are Portuguese and Spanish bakeries knocking about that do things like this. I loved Porto. I went with my mum, auntie and cousin, and Tom went with his dad and brother again. Really cool, beautiful city. It's all built on a port. I don't know if that's why it's called Porto. I imagine so. I imagine there's some etymology thing going on there. It's also where port wine originated, I believe. And yeah, I really liked it. I love a little port town, and there was one day where we saw this massive navy boat go past. It was like I don't know, it looked like a boat from like the early 20th century or late 19th century, had a big mast and sail, and I loved seeing that. That was one of my best memories from Porto. Okay, Porto can go here. This is a magnet from Tenerife with a little para boat and a lighthouse. I went to Tenerife for like a girls' holiday with my friends. I think we did like 4 nights, 3 or 4 nights. My friends were joking that it was like a survival holiday for me because I faced a lot of my fears. We went up the cable cars up to like the volcano, and I'm so scared of heights, and I cried in the cable car, but I was very brave. I didn't make a big scene of it. I just like shed a few tears in the cable cars. And then we had to go on like a whale spotting boat trip. And I think I've said it before in my videos, I just don't fuck with anything from the sea. From a distance I can appreciate things, but I don't want to be whale spotting, you know, that terrifies me. And they were only these tiny whales. I don't even remember what type of whales they were, but I was so scared. And then I got really seasick and I was throwing up in the toilet downstairs of the boat. And then the only way to stop feeling seasick was to get in the water, so then I had to swim like around the boat, but I was scared because of the whales. It was quite a traumatic holiday, all things considered. But I did have a good time, and my friends just rinsed me the entire time. I have what I think is actually my favourite magnet. It's this Délices de France. Délices de France. Délices de France magnet. There's a wheel of brie, some kind of salami, saucisson thing, a little bottle of wine and a baguette. And we got this from Paris. I haven't been to many places in France outside of Paris. I'm dying to do trips to like the south of France, or I don't know, the countryside, or Lyon or Toulouse, or anywhere really. But we got this in Paris when we did one of our little day trips. So that can go there, next to Belgium. And then another one from Paris is this catacomb or catacomb. I know people say it differently. This catacombs magnet, so 3 skulls. If I haven't mentioned a billion times already, I used to live in Paris. I lived there for a year as part of my studies. I went to uni there, and for the entire year I was desperate to go to the catacombs, and for whatever reason I just never made it. I never did it. Either no one wanted to go with me, or I was busy, or I had exams or whatever. I feel like I was just constantly revising when I was in France. And then it was also the COVID lockdown for like the second half of me being there. I stayed there, but nothing was open. And then I visited Paris in 2024, just before the Olympics, with the two friends that I lived in Paris with, Jacob and Katie, and we went to the catacombs, and I loved it. I loved it. It's so eerie and historically interesting. And I also know the Queens of the Stone Age did a gig down there, and apparently like I don't know what the deal was in France at the time, but the equivalent of like the Victorian period, people used to go down there and like put on little like violin and cello concerts and do like dancing around the skulls. Really weird. But my favourite attraction in Paris. I've also heard horror stories about the catacombs. So there's the museum, which is like an allotted area of the catacombs, but apparently they're actually very extensive. And I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that the catacombs actually run for the entire like parameter of Paris. Like they're as big as the city itself. And obviously a lot of the alleys and ginnels and whatever are closed off to the public, but there are ways of getting into them from outside of the museum entrance. So there are certain parts of Paris where you can enter the catacombs unsupervised. And I've heard horror stories about people being lost down there because they've just taken the wrong turn, they've lost track, they've had no signal, they haven't been able to find their way out again. And there are mad people that do like raves and just all kind of like crazy events that happen in the catacombs. Obviously they're not legal, but yeah, I've heard a lot of horror stories about people getting lost down there. I'm not sure I'd ever be brave enough to do that. Catacombs can go at the bottom here. Okay. This is Morocco. This is probably our best foodie one. So we've got these little like pancakey breads that they serve. This is like a Moroccan breakfast. I don't know if this is couscous or a tagine. Could be either. And then like a fried egg. And then these like little skewery things. And then there's some jugs. This is a mint tea, I believe, or just hot water it looks like. I went to Morocco with my mum. I think it's the only time I've ever left Europe actually, is Morocco. I absolutely loved it. It was so busy. We were in Marrakesh and we were in a riad in the Medina, and it was so insanely busy. I think we went like the weekend of Eid, which we should have checked, to be fair. We should have known it was going to be super busy. But I was really pleasantly surprised by how nice everyone was. People were so friendly. I wasn't expecting it for whatever reason, but people were just so nice, because you hear things about, especially in like the Medina, people wanting to scam you, and there are pickpockets and crime and blah blah blah, but everyone I spoke to was just so friendly and really just smiley, generous, kind people. I know people have different experiences, but that was mine. Where can this go? This is getting quite heavy now. Morocco we can squeeze it in there. Okay, this is a little seafood paella, which is so sweet. This might be my favourite foodie magnet actually. From Mallorca. My partner and I go to Mallorca a fair amount because it's where his family used to go on holiday a lot when he was a kid. I think his granddad started the trend of going to this one specific beach in Mallorca. So it's we probably go there like once a year. And I love Spanish food. I don't eat seafood, as I've said, but I love like chorizo, I love other paellas, I just love all Spanish food. I love it all. So we got this on one of our holidays, but we only got the one because we don't want to get a new one every year. It's like one per place, you know, instead of one per trip. Paella can go here. Tom bought this one. Tom actually went to Mallorca last week when I was in Cos. He went to Mallorca with his mum, and he bought this actually, so I lied. This is our second Mallorca magnet, and it has a little thermometer on it, which I think is why he bought it, because in his head it serves a function. So, and it is very, very sweet. I don't know if that's the right temperature. It's saying it's about 27 degrees. I don't know if that's true, but I love a little nautical feature. So thermometer can go there. Okay. I think we might just manage. And then I have 3 magnets that my mum and I did as part of the same trip. We did Vienna. This is a famous Gustav Klimt painting, which I can't remember the name of. It might be The Lovers or Kissing or something like that. But my boyfriend thinks it's really tacky. I think it's a beautiful magnet. I love how shiny it is. And I love Gustav Klimt. I think Vienna is such a cool city. My favourite part of Vienna is the Kunsthausen, I think they're called, which remind me a bit of Gustav Klimt actually. It's the Hundertwasserhausen. I could have gotten that completely wrong. There might be something else I'm thinking of. But these very colourful, beautiful houses, which are all kind of mosaiced and tiled and really, really lovely. And this reminded me of those, but also I just like Gustav Klimt's work. Alright, that can go here. Or maybe go here. I'm trying to preserve space. Okay. And then also on that trip we did Bratislava. We went on, I can't remember what day it was, maybe like a Tuesday, because we did it between the other one I'm going to show you is Budapest. So we did Budapest, Bratislava, and then Vienna. We were only in Bratislava for one day, but it was a day where everything was closed, and it was quite a rainy day. And I remember we did the castle on the top of the hill, and obviously Bratislava it's an old communist country, so a lot of their architecture was kind of knocked down and rebuilt under the Soviet Union. So some of it feels a little bit like dystopian, like eerily empty. I remember our Airbnb host told us this as well. But I like the city. But I just feel we went on the wrong day. But I really like this magnet. This was a little like alleyway. If you walk down one of the like roads in the square, you see this big clock tower. So that's what this is. And I think we went out for a meal. We did a little bit of mooching, and then we just kind of went to our Airbnb, and we I think we just like watched a documentary. But that was quite good because it was a nice break between between Vienna and Budapest. I'm gonna stick that there, and then let's try sticking this here. Oh, we're running out of space. We're definitely running out of space. I have 3 more magnets to go. This is Budapest. Loved Budapest. Loved Budapest. I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be a bit more like Bratislava, to be fair. I thought it was going to be like slightly eerie, but it was so vibrant. We had an incredible meal there, and we went to the baths, which we loved. We went to Margaret Island, I think it's called, and we cycled in this little like egg-shaped car. There was so much music and entertainment, and everyone was happy and smiling and laughing and dancing. It was such a vibrant city, and I think it's probably one of my favourite places I've been to just one of my favourite places I've been to, and I really did like it. I'd like to go back there. Yeah, we can go there. Okay, two more, we've got this. This is Albania, which has one of the coolest flags of any country, aesthetically, in my opinion. My mum watched a documentary about Albania years ago. Everyone on the documentary was really nice, so she had it in her head that like Albania is the best place ever and everyone there is so lovely. But I'd heard the opposite. I'd heard from some of my Albanian colleagues like, you shouldn't go there, it's really rough. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I took my mum for her birthday last year, I think, and we stayed in like a hobbit house, which was quite funny. And again, I was so pleasantly surprised. The green spaces, we went to Tirana, and there were so many like beautiful green spaces around the city, and there was a good amount of stuff to do. I thought it was going to be quite small, but I really did like Albania, and I've been told that the Albanian coastline is like the new the new French Riviera. That's what I've heard, yeah. So maybe we'll give that a go, but I'm sorry that I doubted Albania, because it was really great. And again, the people were so lovely, such helpful, kind people. Yeah, and I love this magnet. I think it's a very cool magnet. Okay, we've done this. We've done it. Okay, final magnet I bought this week when I was in Kos. I'm going to put this down because it is heavy. The final magnet I got in Kos this week. Like I said, it was a family holiday and I really loved it. I liked spending time with my family, but I also learned a lot about Kos. I think it's the birthplace of Hippocrates, and he also taught there. There was a tree where he taught about his medicinal and doctoral knowledge, and I just thought it was a really beautiful island. I'd love to do Athens, I'd love to do more of Greece, but I feel like Kos was a very good starting place. And this is a pomegranate with a little metal stalk, I guess. There were a few pomegranate trees in our hotel. Yeah, so that is everything. I'm just gonna stick. Will it fit? Yes, we've done it. There we go. So this is the final magnet board. I'm aware this video is dragged on a bit more than some of my other ones. I'll try and edit it to be a bit shorter. But I hope that you've enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed looking at my magnets. If you have recommendations of trips you've been on or places you've been, I'd love to know. Because obviously I'm looking to build up my magnet collection, but also just to build up my knowledge of the world. So thank you so much for